been down to the harbor on the island of Sodor meeting the new tugboats. The names are Theodore, George, Hank, Foduck, and Emily. Can you believe it? A tugboat named Emily. But anyway, it was very nice to meet them. They told me lots of good stories. You know, when they first arrived here, James thought it was silly of them to be here. Until one stormy night. You know, that's a good story for me to tell you today. So, if you're ready, here goes. Theodore and his friends come to Sodor. One day on the island of Sodor, Thomas was very excited. The new tugboats were arriving today, and he didn't want to be late to meet them. As Thomas made it to the harbor, Sodom had greeted him warmly. "Right on time," he said. "Thank you, sir," said Thomas. Then, Sodom had turned his attention to all the other engines. "Now then, you all know why you are here, right?" "Yes, sir," said the engines. "Yes, we are here to welcome the new tugboats to our railway," said Gordon. "That's right, Gordon," said Sodom Hat. Then James spoke up. "But sir, why do we need tugboats here?" "Well, why don't you ask them yourself, James?" As soon as Sodom Hat said that, then the engines heard 5 tugboat whistles. "Ah, here they come now." As the engines watched, the tugboats arrived. "Hello," said the tugs together. "Hello," said the engines all together. Then Thomas looked at one of the tugboats, his nameplate. "Hey, look, Emily, that tug has your name." "My goodness, she does." "Hello, tugboats. I'm Sir Tom Hat, head of the railway." "Nice to meet you, sir," said the tugs together. "And these are my engines." The tugs looked at the engines and smiled. "Hello," said one. "My name is Theodore, and these are my friends, Emily, George, Hank, and Foduck." "Nice to meet you all," said the engines. Then Gordon puffed up. Excuse me, but I have a question for you tugboats." "Okay then, ask," said George. Why are you 5 here?" After Gordon said that, the tugs looked sad. Then Foduck spoke up. "We are here because our home closed down." When the engines heard this, they were sad. "Please tell us about it," said Edward. And with that, Theodore began his story. "Well, you see, about a year ago, my friends and I were on hard times. For you see, when our harbor master passed away years ago, our jobs got less and less. We tried our best, but it was not good enough. For our new harbor master soon bought diesel boats, and soon they took our jobs, and the harbor master sent us for scrap. But thankfully our dispatcher wouldn't have it, and saved us, and then we became museum pieces. It was not much, but at least we were not going to be scrapped." "Wow, that's terrible," said Thomas.
"Yeah, no kidding," said Gordon.
"So what happened next?" asked Percy. "Well, years after we became museum pieces," Theodore continued, "we were wondering if we were ever going to we would ever run again. Then one day we were greeted by one of your managers, and he told us that Sir Topham Hatt bought us, and we're going to the island of Sodor. And that is how we got our new lease on life here," said Theodore. Everyone was impressed, all except for James. "I still don't get why we need tugboats, though. Because our ships can dock on their own." Before anyone could say anything, James crossly puffed away. "Just ignore him, you 5, said Thomas. "He's just jealous." But Theodore, Emily, Hank, Foduck, and George felt hurt by James's remark. Later that night, a big storm raged across the island. James and the tugboats and the cranes were trapped at the docks. Wow, what a storm, said Hank.
Yes, this storm is much worse than we used to have at our old home, said George.
Just then, everyone heard a desperate ship's whistle. They all looked, and there was a cruise liner heading right at them. Oh no! That ship is in trouble, said Cranky. You're right, Chuck, said Carly.
We must do something, said Big Mickey.
Yes, but what? Asked James. We'll help stop that ship, said Emily. Are you sure you five can stop that ship? Asked James. Yes, we can stop that ship, said Theodore. And without another word, the tugboats raced off to save the ship. As the tugboats made it to the ship, Fodor gave out the orders. All right, Emily, take the front. Emily did just that. Then he looked at George, Theodore, and Hank. George, go behind Emily. Theodore and Hank, go to the back of the ship. The three tugs did as they were told. And then Fodor went to the middle of the ship. When the tugs were tied up to the ship, they pulled with all their might. Come on, you five, said Cranky. You can do it, Chucks, said Carly. Yes, please, hurry, called James. The tugs were pulling so hard to stop the ship that it was beginning to hurt them. Just as it looked like the ship was going to crash, the ship finally stopped, just mere inches from the docks.
You did it,
said Big Mickey. Yes, well done, Chucks, said Carly. Even James was impressed. You five did very well. The tugs smiled, knowing that they had saved the day. The next day, Sir Thomas had praised the tugs.
Well done. You five were all very brave.
Thank you, sir, said the tugs. Then Sir Thomas had spoke severely to James. James, it has come to my attention that you have been rude to the tugs. They proved last night that they deserve to be here. James felt very ashamed. He soon apologized to the tugs, and the tugs smiled. Now, whenever James comes to the docks, he always whistles to the tugs, and they always whistle back to him. And from that day on, James and the tugs became lifelong friends, and the tugs were happy to be a part of Sir Topham Hatt's Railway.